Hey yo, it's your girl Flo back with another video. And if you're new here, hi. I hope you subscribe. So black activist Mechee X had a live stream last night where she compared this Just Pearly situation to that of the Black Lives Matter movement. She speaks on how we as black people have let others come in and co-opt movements that we've built, things that belong to us. Now, although many of us may not believe in the talking points or the rhetoric of the Black Manosphere, that is something that those black men have built. Men like O'Shea Duke Jackson, the Angry Man, Obsidian. Why do we let outsiders not only have a say on what we as a people have built, but to intrinsically co-opt what is in fact ours?
Okay. So understand this. Let's look at the manosphere for a moment, y'all. I want y'all to understand. People keep talking about Pearl, the white girl, Pearl Paste. I don't know, pale white horse, whatever the fucking girl name is, right? So everybody keeps talking about her and whether she's racist or whether she ain't racist. Let's just not talk about that for a moment. How about we just talk about the fact that this chick used and a thing that her people have done for forever. Okay. So let's not talk about the racism since people don't seem to want to be able to agree on whether she's racist or not. What she is a woman that has actually taken what she has watched her forefathers and everybody else do for forever, and she used it in the YouTube sector when it came to the manosphere. She co-opted y'all shit. Understand that co-oping is something that other groups of people have done to black folks for forever. It is a very old thing that has always been done to us, and I'm surprised that we fall for this shit all of the time. Now, I want you to know that what she did, I can give you all the steps and compare that shit to exactly what motherfuckers do when I've been in organizations. It works the same exact way. The recipe is the same, the steps are the same, and the outcome is the same. So let's talk about that for a minute, right? If any of y'all have been in organizations, you've been in the street and you've been working with organizations, and I'm talking about organizations that are grassroots, but I'm talking about the ones that get money, they get funding, and in their city, they seem to actually have some notoriety, right? They become the NAACP of your community. And when I say NAACP, we'll get in that a little later, but that's just merely an organization that is not for Black people at all. And they have Black faces representing, but that is a white organization, right? So this is what happens in those scenes. And if you've never been there, let me tell you exactly how the shit goes down. So you have these meetings and you start to get folks who will come into your movement and they'll say, hey, I want to help you. I want to be your ally. They come in, they start coming to your meetings, they start offering to give you help. They out there handing out sandwiches, they sweeping the streets, they marching, they protesting, whatever the fuck it is that you're doing. They're there. Okay. They make their way in. They act like they understand all of your issues. They tell you that they're trustworthy in their actions. Sometimes they show up and they're the first to show up because they're outdoing every fucking body around you because they want you to know we're down for you and your cause. Okay? And then once they slide their ass up in there, several things start to happen. They make these pacts with other people. They start to befriend people, right? Because this is going to help them later when the division happens. Okay. Because what a co-opper does is they come in, they use up your movement for everything to benefit them in the long run. And when the shit blows up and gets caught and they've taken all they can, their ultimate goal after that is to destroy the thing that they came in that was not divided before they got there. So I will give you a real life example. So I'm in Colorado. I'm helping organizations in the community. I'm fucking with Black Lives Matter, right? And other organizations as well. So I watch how once people come in and say, well, we're from this chapter, they want to start, mingling with everybody else. And Black Lives came in and everybody wanted to look to them. They had other organizations. Everybody said, well, we're going to start working with everybody. We got to make a difference, right? So you look up and you got all these races of people and they say that they're helping and they're coming to all of these different meetings and they tell you that they care about what you're doing. But what actually happened is that the momentum left those organizations and went all to Black Lives Matter. So what happened is they jumped on the bandwagon. They said, let us help you. when later all they did was take everybody that was supporting them. Now they were supporting Black Lives Matter. The people stopped showing up to the other meetings and they started showing up to the Black Lives Matter meeting because they felt that was the big movement. And at first they were coming to our meetings and they were supporting us. Next thing we know, everybody was at their meetings because this was the main headquarters, because they're the people that's doing it up and they want to help us. And next thing you know, it seemed like it was always their agenda and not ours anymore. Okay. We sit around and all of this is going on in these organizations. All of it is political. We won't get into the Black Lives Matter and the politicalness of it. But at that time, the Green Party, which is all a part of the Black agenda and all of those great things, sends in an escort. Now, this escort comes to the organization. She puts her hair in a ponytail. She doesn't come looking like she's ready to, right? And she starts to build relationships and asking leaders of organizations, specifically the men, if she can shadow them to learn what they do and help them. She's always there showing up. She's always the first one to help do any goddamn thing. She's doing all of this stuff so that she can get in good with all of these men and heads of the organizations. Okay. The woman comes in and she's working for these other organizations who are actually trying to get all of the focus onto them. So they come and get all the small organizations and they push everybody in their direction. So now everybody's focused on their movement. And we got to do this because their movement is going to benefit us all. So our shit gets put on the back burner, right? So this woman comes in and she's working with the people who are co-oping, and everybody thinks these are their friends. This woman starts sleeping with everybody in the organization, all of the men. Okay. Now we're in a meeting and Black Lives Matter is telling people, because they represent the LGBTQ, we're talking about things like why it is that the Black community may have strong reactions towards, gays, or you might think they're homophobic. We went into slavery and how men were raped as well, and that when we were freed, oftentimes traditions happen and we don't discuss them. And so the older men that were on the plantation that maybe had experienced sexual assault after they had left the plantation, imagine watching two young boys run around and play and they're too close to each other. They fall on top of each other. Any type of their actions are too close and they seem as men to be close. Now, the other men are very traumatized by what's happened to them. So being close to another man seems really disgusting. So when you see the boys playing around and they too close, an uncle might snatch him up and say, "Stop playing like that. We don't play like that." You know what I'm saying? And after a while, it just gives you this idea in your head that men shouldn't be too close. All of this intimate stuff between the two is just, it's been implanted in you because of the reaction that people automatically have. And they didn't tell you where the reaction came from. It's just something that's been long bred in our community. So it's a question of, did the buck breaking on the plantation cause the tradition of having such an adverse reaction to seeing men with other men? It's a very valid question. And do you know that the Black Lives Matter people sat up in there and they said they were offended? Right? They said that they were offended, and they said that they didn't think that slavery and that things of that nature and that being gay had nothing to do with rape or things being forced. And now you're not listening to us. This is where the co-oping happens. These motherfuckers don't give no damn about you. And as soon as you start to say the thing in a room full of so-called allies that they don't agree with, once they have gotten all the attention on themselves, they have moved the crowd towards them, they have put all the focus on them. At first, it was you brought all of the attention to them, and now it's all on them. And then when they find something that they don't agree with what you do, they say something, just like Pearl doesn't agree with reparations and other things. Watch, I'm going to show you how this compares, right? And so when they don't agree, and then all of a sudden there becomes this argument, because then the other groups say to them, now, well, you're an ally of ours and you're out of order, and this is what we believe. And then you have those that try and hold them to the carpet and say, you're now disrespecting our movement, but we thought you were an ally. Now there's division. For those that have built a rapport with those people are now telling you you're being ridiculous, and now the organizations are fighting with each other. And the motherfucker that is there, they don't even have to fight you, because the people they built all of these relationships with, just like Pearly things, will come out and defend them anyway. So once that happens and we start the fighting back and forth, they unleash the plan and they tell the escort bitch to do her thing. She finds one of the husbands at a concert with his wife, and she out loud says in front of him, "Tell your wife you were sleeping with me last night." What do you think happened in his marriage? He couldn't focus on the organization because he was worried about losing his family after that. There was another guy she was sleeping with at the same time who was the head of another organization, and they had been having a relationship. This man is in an open marriage, so he can sleep with whoever the hell he wants. That's another story how men get in these positions of power and they just be trying to sleep with everybody. Y'all could be mad if you want, same thing that Martin Luther King did. You be around all these women and they just start sleeping with them all. And yes, he's a brother, but he was sleeping with all the white women, the Mexican women. He was having every piece of coochie that came his way. And I think that's a bit trifling too. When you're a leader, you should tone your dick down for real. Okay. But that's another story. So anyway, they had consensual relationship. This bitch tried to scream me too. She's a grown ass woman and was like, I felt that he hurt my feelings and I was shadowing him and I'm just vulnerable. And she's that bitch that's white. She's not a black woman, so her tears matter. So now she's screaming at me too, not that he raped me, but that this man, you know what I'm saying, he played with my emotions and he's just a womanizer. And I watch black women attack this man on her behalf that used to be his friends. Well, we have to stand with women and we know her and this is not right. And then they started to judge him. Black women defended this woman. I came out and they argued with me because I called the bitch out and gave them every piece of paperwork live on a Facebook video and said, this woman is a fucking plant in the organization. She's an op. This bitch is an escort and she came here to do exactly what she's doing. And guess what happened? The organizations all started to fall apart. And when it was all said and done, everybody looked at all the other organizations that were small and said, this shit is messy. And who do you think that they ended up eventually giving all their support to? The Black Lives Matter people. And for the people who wanted to stay within the fold and get money from those allies, they agreed with that bullshit. And you know what else they did? They went into their contracts and their mission statement, not their contracts, their mission statements, and they had to change the wording from Black to people of color to get money. And they did. And these organizations are no longer the same. The relationships are no longer the same. The power that was behind it for Black people is no longer the same. This is an old story. This happens all the time. I want you to look at the manosphere. The manosphere is a group of men, whether you agree with them or you don't. I don't watch the manosphere. I hear of them. Who can't hear of the shit that they talk about, right? I think their rhetoric is bullshit. Let me say in another note for all of y'all, get your panties in a bunch. I don't agree with the women who are out here talking shit about Black men either. So I don't watch either one of them conversations. They're stupid to me, right? But the bottom line is that the manosphere was a group of Black men who call themselves coming together for whatever their cause was. They had a lot of relationships they had built. They had built up their platforms pretty big. For as stupid as their conversation is, these niggas got some of the biggest platforms when they talk about these things. Kevin Samuels being the one that rose all the way to the top. So whether you like them or you don't, these brothers had something they had built. And here comes Miss Pearly Things. And Miss Pearly Things says, let me get in good. Let me say, I'm on your side. Let me shadow you. Let me support you. How does she support? Well, y'all seem to say she paid her way to the top. No, nigga, that's a step in co-oping. You have to first give to be trusted before you take. So she gave. How did she give? She went around to all the main men in the manosphere, one, to get them on her side, two, to get their information so she could use it because she's co-oping. She wants to take what you have built. And so she goes and she's giving by giving motherfucker $1,000 for consultations. Well, I supported y'all leader. I supported this person. I went and got information from them. For all the white people that are on YouTube, and let's understand something. There is a white manosphere. I found out the other day that they be roasting Pearl. And they think that she's just a fucking pick-me chick, and they don't want to hear what this white woman has to say. I want y'all to pay attention to this. They don't want to hear what this white woman has to say. They say it's a man's space, and she just saying what we want to hear. Don't nobody want to listen to this pick me ass chick. She just telling us what we want to hear. The white man can see that. It's a white man in the manosphere. I don't even know his name, but once you start watching this shit, it come across your feed. It was in my shorts, and it was so funny because he was on there talking shit about her and two other white women I didn't even know existed in the white manosphere. And he was saying all of them bitches was pick me chicks, but he part of the manosphere and saying, "Hey, no, this is not your space." And this is a white man saying this, and he's big in his own right, and this is how he feel about her. But the brothers just we need the white girl to validate us. That's a whole nother story. We talked about that. But she comes in, she gets everybody's secrets. She makes some really good, strong ties by supporting those who are at the top of this movement so that she can get people on her side. And what she was doing was taking this movement and riding this motherfucker for as far as she could. It was something that was created for men, first of all. The Black Manosphere was created for Black men, and she done come in claiming, "I'm an ally. I'm with you. I'm not you, but my fight is your fight, and I agree with you so we can fight together." That's what allies say to you. So she comes in and she acts like she's fighting with them. And what she's really doing is building up herself because I don't understand how y'all don't see the transit. How y'all let a white woman, how did y'all let the manosphere go from being run by a Black man to a white woman? Like, that's a really big shift. How the fuck did y'all do that? And somebody gonna say she wasn't running the manosphere. Oh, fuck you. You Black men have kept Pearl's mouth in your name, in your videos. You let her come up on the panel. She might as well be, because of you guys, we actually saw more of Pearl than we saw of you motherfuckers. Because you were all promoting her. So we were seeing Pearl more than we were seeing you. So she was trying to come. She said, "You have a really interesting lane. I'm going to learn how they do this shit. And then I'm going to figure it the fuck out. And then I'm going to co-opt this shit so I can become the ruler of running this shit. So I can take the attention in all eyes and put them on me." So she did what she had to do. Y'all call it paying her way through YouTube. I call it co-oping some shit. Whenever I have to do with Black people, I think you co-oping, especially if you ain't Black. And then what happens? She took all she could from it. And when things fell apart and she could not continue to do what she was doing without being called to carpet. See, that was the thing, like that meeting we had. She said some shit she didn't have the right to speak on. See, you may be an ally, bitch. You might be in this circle and you might claim that you're here to help us. But when people are allies, let's be clear when we talk about organizations or anything, just because you're an ally doesn't mean you get to fucking tell us what to do. That's not what an ally is. So when we were at that meeting and the allies spoke up and said, "Wait a minute," and tried to misinform us and tell us we not right about the stuff that we're saying, and we gave pushback, and then it blew up in their face in a way that they didn't think it would, they caused confusion, and then they divided everybody. And it's never been the same again. Let me be clear to y'all. The manosphere will never be the same again. You motherfuckers have literally let this white girl come in. She spoke when it was not her turn to speak. She spoke on something she shouldn't be speaking on because allies don't know their place. And y'all pumped her head up and she thought she could say anything and everything, even amongst a space of Black people. See, it amazed me when I would go into those damn meetings with allies. And they're in a space with nothing but Black people. And you have the audacity to say what you said in front of all of us. What? And the reason they could is because motherfuckers in the room would let them get away with it. See, they stopped inviting me to shit. And if you in here from Denver and you one of my riders from back then, because there's people from Colorado that still watch me, you know damn well I'm telling the truth. Y'all stop inviting me to shit. Because I was the one to be like, "Excuse me, why y'all got this white lady in the room? And why the fuck is she talking? We talking about Black issues. Nobody asked her, and she been talking for longer than anybody else. Like, what the fuck is this?" They be like, "Damn, I would be fucking up their money. These are the people that was writing them checks." But as soon as they say something in the room that you're not supposed to say, and you check them, now they have to try and clean it up. And if not, the very thing that they've come to gain, now that they're done and they've grabbed all that they can from it, then they destroy it. Then they destroy it. Black Lives Matter was the same thing. Understand they put black people in place for Black Lives Matter, but Black Lives Matter was built up to push the LGBTQ community even more. And it was also riled up by politicians and people who wanted to use the Black Lives Matter movement so that it could feel the rage and stuff that was in the streets over all of these police murders and stuff. But it easily always comes back to politics. So they used it. And now that they have used up Black Lives Matter, and it's even better that they let black faces run it, but it was a white organization. It was an LGBTQ organization, to be more clear. Now that they had run its course and they got Black Lives Matter to do everything that they needed it to do, and it built them. I want you to think about that. Black Lives Matter built the fuck out of the LGBTQ community. Yes? Black Lives Matter built the fuck out of the Democratic Party and helped them to get votes because of all the shit that was going on. Yes? Now that they didn't need their black asses no more, what did they do? They destroyed them. You really think that all this controversy with Black Lives Matter and all of the news about the fucking money this bitch was spending wrong and the houses she bought, black people didn't leak that shit to you and start them stories? It's time to tear the organization down. We got what we needed from it. Now, what we need to do is tear it down so there's nothing built for black people, period. And it also tarnishes the name of any black movement. Like, I hear black people today still be like, well, you know, Black Lives Matter, that was some bullshit. I want people to remember Black Lives Matter is a saying. And just because an organization took it when we didn't give it to them and we didn't approve of them and they use it as their movement, doesn't mean now what happens? Naturally, human wise, that saying has no respect or no regard when it's heard. Whenever we say Black Lives Matter, we think of the organization and people be like, huh, whatever. No, we don't. When that sad part is that it's a saying and motherfucker, Black lives do matter. But every time you say a very real, true, necessary statement, it's always going to be attached to bullshit. So the statement will never mean anything anymore. You better pay attention to what the fuck people do. And this is what the fuck Pearl did. And I know people like it's not that serious, but it's a teachable moment right now. If you understand a co-op is a co-op. And this white woman did what her ancestors and her forefathers have done for forever. They come in and take everything. How many of y'all watch white people take credit for all the shit that black people built? Shit, according to y'all, they even turned Jesus white. Because y'all say he black. They co-opt everything. You worship Jesus and you go to Christianity, more non-black people don't practice Christianity, they practice spirituality. They stole your shit and gave you bullshit. So people want to talk about racism. She ain't racist. Okay, fuck the word racist. Do we understand white privilege? Do we understand co-oping and how other groups and other people, especially white folks, come in and do this to black people all the time? Tell me Pearl didn't do the exact same thing. She got everything she could. She took a movement that had nothing to do with her. She got in good. She built rapport so that if it ever broke down, she would have people within the movement to defend her. And when she got really bold in her whiteness, she, in a room full of black people, said some things that was out of line. And when she got checked for it, then the division part came. And now you watch black people all over YouTube falling apart with each other. And Pearl is somewhere, I don't know, sitting on the moon. She's in fucking wherever the bitch went on vacation. She doesn't give a damn. Now, I don't like none of you niggas in the manosphere. But let me tell you something what I see. I see the sisters that y'all have built relationships with in real life that support the manosphere. Y'all have relationships and working with each other. Y'all have come close to each other and supported each other. You might even consider each other friends in real life. You niggas is over here falling out, not talking to each other. You got people like O'Shea, who was supposed to be, y'all say, the person who started the bigging up the manosphere. You got Obsidian over here. You got all of these major players in your movement, and you niggas are no longer together. You're divided. I don't give a fuck what none of y'all say. The manosphere will never be the same again. You'll never get it back. You'll never get back the momentum. You'll never get back the same people that were in there. You'll never get it back. And not only will you never get it back, most of the attention from all of this negative shit is still going to be pointed towards Pearl, and she'll gain more views from this shit than you ever fucking will. Tell me I'm lying. So whether you're talking about a chick on YouTube who is co-opting black movements, whether you agree with them or don't, it is what it is. And coming in and doing these things. Or whether it is people in the community talking about they were black organizations. A co-oping is a co-oping, y'all. And if you understand the recipe, it's easier for you to recognize it. And this is what brings me to the first fucking statement in this title of this video. We don't have no allies. Stop thinking that you do. When you build something for black, let that shit stay black. I don't care what nobody got to say. All of this, we love the world. We are the children. We are the ones to make a brighter day. Fuck that shit. We're the only ones running around here talking about, I'm part of the human race. I'm not part of the black race. Shut the fuck up. Have you looked in the mirror lately? Do you have any mirrors in your house? You sound stupid, and it's time for people to wake the fuck up. All of this, oh, racism is gone, and we live in a world where everybody can get along and we're all loved. You're lying to yourselves, and I need you to stop. We don't have no allies. You don't. Everybody that comes in for anything is coming in for something that benefits them in the long run. You ain't got no motherfuckers out here going hard for us just because we black. I want y'all to tell me one damn movement that you have ever seen where we have partnered with somebody else that is another group and that they did not get everything that they were fighting for with all of our energy and all of our help, but nothing ever comes to us. I'm sure we cried to get Jews reparations. Give the Jews money for the Holocaust. Even though we ain't do that shit. Give it to them. Oh, don't have the babies at the border. You niggas was crying. You can't put them Mexican babies in tents. Why not? This is what I mean. Why are you crying for the babies at the border? Do you know, like one thing Pearl did say, I can't get my Africans into America. You're right, because even the immigrant black people, they know that they let more niggas in the country. Go ask African immigrants how easy it is for them to get in here as it is for the other immigrants. Remember, we had Haitians that were met with horses and whips like this was slavery days, right? When they was trying to run over here. When the Mexicans come over here, though, they get tents. You crying for kids at the border that don't look like you when every motherfucking day black people in our communities go to jail, don't have anybody to take care of their kids, was breaking the law, knew they was breaking the law. And when you break the law, you go to jail. And when they went to jail, guess what happened? They didn't get to bring their children with them. Their kids go to protective services. So why should you get to keep your kids when you knew that crossing the border was an illegal thing to do? It was a crime, Maria. Alejandro and Alejandra got to go with us, ma'am. They can't stay in the tents with you. These are for the criminals because you just committed a crime. But when it comes to us, we don't see it the same way. How many black babies are lost and families are destroyed based on locking black people up in this country for the crimes they committed? So why other groups can't be committed that way? But see how they're greeted and how the other ones are greeted? But we cry for everybody. Y'all be here talking about, well, I'm black and I'm fighting for the LGBTQ community. Really? Oh, that's so stupid of you. I just want you to know that. Like the LGBTQ don't need no help fighting. And all the strides that are being made are not being made for your black ass, it's being made for everybody else, while they just use your black ass to actually promote it and indoctrinate it within people. Like, we are the smallest group in this goddamn country, but you are the biggest fucking flamboyant men with dresses on fucking line, though. Everywhere you go, it's a nigga in a dress. I will tell you this. If you are a transgender or if you're in the LGBTQ community and you're black, if you get your ass whooped by a cop, because you got pulled over and you got on the skirt, but you clearly have a beard, it wasn't because you're in a dress. It's because you're black. This is what you don't seem to understand. It's because you're black, not because you're gay. Everything that happens to you because of you being black first. That's supposed to be our fight. But we fight for everything else. And have you noticed for every fight that we have helped people fight, how many times did they come to us like, we your allies? And black people, we the smallest, but we just go out there and we just push everybody's fight. We cry for them. We fight for everybody else. And then they take all of that momentum, they get all of that energy, and they get what they want. They get reprieve at the border. They get better tents. They get their children back. They get, grants. They get money to help start businesses. They get opportunities. And you be looking at them like, well, what the fuck? Where is ours? But why are we going to keep helping people get shit that they'll never give to us? Why do you care about another group getting something when you ain't gonna get it yourself? How dumb do we feel fighting for shit that we know we need and we watch the other people we fought with? And then when the allies get it, they're like, thanks. Thanks, guys. Gonna go now. We're no longer in tents. They fucking gave us food stamps. They put our asses in some really nice houses and shit. Thanks for protesting with us, but we're leaving and you take your black ass back to the projects. And your food stamps ain't came yet. Matter of fact, they cut them bitches last week and you hungry. I don't understand. When are we going to understand we don't have any allies? When a motherfucker say, can I help you? You know what you tell your allies? What do you have to give me? Other than that, get the fuck on. And what I mean by that is, let's talk about what a real ally looks like. Because this day and age, we have so many co-oping. What does a real ally look like? I don't believe many exist. But if you want to know what a real ally look like somebody who come to drop something off, give you some shit and be on their motherfucking way. What I mean by that is, if they're an ally and they know we need guns, just giving you an example. They ain't asking you no questions. They came and brought the guns and they left. They don't give a fuck what your plan is. They know they your ally. You need ammo, I got ammo. Let's go, right? They ain't in here telling you how to load it, how to use it, or do nothing. We allow allies to come to the dinner table, and then these niggas get to tell us what we eating for dinner too. An ally comes in to offer something and not take something away.